Good afternoon and welcome to 365 Days of Amazing Stories with Theo Mayer. Here we are on day 251 of 2024, and I'm continuing the story of the Master Maid. The giant was going to do everything he could to get his Master Maid back and do that young prince in. Now he'd gotten his river sucker, and the river sucker had sucked as much water out of the sea as it could. But the Master Maid had had the young prince throw out salt, which made a mountain of salt, which the giant couldn't get over. He got his ground borer to drill a hole through this salt mountain. He expected then to run through it and get to the Master Maid and the prince. But remember that the Master Maid had taken with her a flask of water, and she now asked the prince to throw out some little drips of water into the sea. He undid the lid and did this, threw some water over the sea, and it expanded thousands of times, perhaps millions of times, until the sea level rose again to the height that it had been at before. At this point, the ground borer had bored a hole through the salt mountain, and the giant was just about to go through that hole when this tumultuous roar of water came through the hole, tumbling the giant, and a great tidal surge. He was not a good swimmer. He was unable to make it to the surface. And no one has heard of the giant since. Well, the prince and the Master Maid made it to the shore. Near, very near to where the prince's father, the king, lived. They got out and he recognized where they were. They went some ways into the woods, uncertain as to whether the giant had survived. But to make sure that they were safe, she took some of that gold dust out of a bag and threw it behind them. And a tall forest grew up of straight coniferous trees that would almost be impenetrable. They went a ways, and the prince said, "Look, you've got to stay here, and I am going to go and get some horses to bring you to the castle. We're not going to walk in." She said, "No, don't do that. Don't leave me here. We need to go together, because if you go by yourself, ill will befall both of us." The prince said, "Oh, come on, don't worry. I know where I am. I'm very close to home. I will go to the stables and get some horses. That way we can ride in style." The Master Maid said, "Please don't do this." They went back and forth for a little while, but it became clear to the Master Maid that he was going to go no matter what. She gave him some instructions. When you arrive back, everyone is going to surround you. Everyone is going to want to be with you and hear where you've been and what has happened. You must pay attention to none of them, and you must eat nothing. For if you do, you will forget me. "I will never forget you," the young prince said. "How could I?" And we'll stop the story there and see what happens next.